So I have prepared 3,000 slides for you guys. I've got like 6 hours worth of speech, or possibly I have nothing at all and I'm counting on you guys to provide content here. Yes, Nick, only 3,000. I kind of stayed up late. So the idea I had here is I figured all of us are smarter than any one of us. And so I'm looking to do some crowdsourced troubleshooting, brainstorming, anything like that. So if anybody has any problems that they've had with courses, any development quandaries, anything like that, I would love to hear from you. If you want to, type it in the chat or the Q&A, or come on camera on mic and share away. And we got quite a few people in here, so I'd say there's a very good chance that someone in here can answer the question.
I guess I will go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I have a question. So my question is...
That's Nick, right?
Yes, Nick. It's more of an aesthetic question. How do you get faculty to either become excited enough about technology or balance out the opposite end where they want to use every single sort of technology possible, even if it doesn't really tie into their objectives and what they actually want to do in the course? How do you guys go about it?
That is a big question. That's the $1 million question. Has anybody got an answer for Nick?
I would take it from kind of a cognitive load perspective. So there's so much noise, they can't get the real juicy content, and spin it that way. I think you might have some luck there.
Are you saying depending on the learner kind of understanding their cognitive load and their ability to be able to take on something new? Yeah.
Going on in a course, like someone who wants to use every single technology feature there is. And you and I both know that that's not a good idea, right? We wanted to meet
Nope, not in any way.
The tool would match the situation. So if the faculty member is insistent on using, all the tools, we have to kind of guide them down this road of cognitive load. So I'm like, well, if you use all these tools, then your students might not understand or get what you're trying to say. And that's not...
You can always link it to accessibility too. Sorry.
Yeah, and it actually, that reminds me of something that we had in the solution session earlier today, where they were talking about, mid-sized companies, I think it was, had like 150 apps that, I didn't write down the number, but, a huge number of systems that people are using, and that's a lot of different things to kind of keep track of.
That's a good question.
I kind of wish I had the number, as opposed to just like, it was 53 billion apps in that company. Okay, so Leslie says, I'm looking for a way to incorporate a participant guide for note-taking inside the course slides, and extra content that can be printed out after someone completes a course, preferably PDF. Leslie, are we talking about an e-learning course, an instructor-led course, or something blended, something else? Yes. So I don't know if you're speaking. It doesn't look like you're muted, but I don't hear anything.
Oops, sorry, I was muted on my other end.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And I'm talking about in an e-learning course. I've been playing around with text entry variables, and I'm able to master that and be able to print out like a single slide, which is sort of okay. But what I was trying to do was create a participant guide similar to how my courses were when I was doing instructor-led, where the person would be taking notes or having extra content in that participant guide. But at the end of the e-learning course, I want them to be able to print it out in whole rather than printing each individual. So right now I have it to where print this slide, print this slide, print that slide, and it's kind of muddled.
Right.
And I'm using Storyline.
Okay. It's interesting. Anyone have any solutions that they've done with that?
Your variables.
How am I doing them? Well, just text entry and then naming it and then calling it later.
Okay. So would it be possible to like group all of them together? I'm thinking like you could have multiple text entries being called up later. If you've got like text entry 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's how I pull the slide, the single slides, because right now they print one slide and then they have to go to the next one to get the rest. Because there's probably in one course I have about 14 entries, and they're not super long, but I would say, a few sentences each. And so they don't all fit on one slide neatly.
Okay. Joseph has a suggestion of maybe attach a fillable PDF as a resource. And it looks like Monica's using that too. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I did have a colleague who set something up where they used I think it was a jQuery or a JavaScript add-in that allowed you to create a PDF from the various variables that you collected along the way so that you could build it out like that. I remember seeing some of it. It looked like the storyline side of it was pretty easy, but I think you had to do like a little bit of layout on the PDF side of things.
Right. So yeah, I've played around with, I use the, for the certificate inside the course, setting that up in an HTML window and then pulling in the variables for their name if they enter it, or I can pull it from the LMS. But I just haven't been able to figure out how to get it to be a nice printable PDF kind of all at once. I was hoping somebody here would be like, oh yeah, here's the solution. So
no, although from the sounds of things, there's a lot of people who are interested in that.
Right.
So
well, thank you.
Leslie, this is Kristen. Do you ever go to the Articulate forums? Because they do actually have a very robust forum, and somebody might know of some JavaScript to print all slides. It sounds like you've found the one for print just this one slide, but somebody might have some JavaScript already created.
Oh yeah, I go out there quite a bit, but I haven't searched for that to print all slides in that way. That's a good suggestion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I don't know about the print all slides, but that print to PDF thing that I was talking about, I'm sure I saw that on there. And Russ has a question. Storyline 3. Someone figured out how to use multiple result slides for branching courses and have specific assessments for each branch. I want to say yes, but I honestly don't remember if I've done that in Storyline 3 or if that was in 360. Or sorry, no, not 3, 2 or 360.
I can say, this is Nick, that I've been able to do that in 360. Don't know about Storyline 3, but I do know that it is possible to be able to do that. Hope that helps.
One option, like you can map the option to another slide, path, and be able to calculate that path. I've been able to do that before.
Yeah.
Russ, do you need to add them all up at the end, or do you want your LMS to record multiple different passing, I guess, of each assessment?
No, we needed to be able to record each individual path. So we have different lines of businesses that take core content, but then there's subsections within that that's content only specific to them. And they want to have assessments graded off of that specific material. And they want to be able to track those answers and record it at the end. I know in 360 you can do it. I know there's a additional completion slide trigger that you can add that helps with multiple results slides and stuff, but we haven't been able to figure out how to do it, and we're on 311. So
that's a good option. Yeah, Joseph is asking if it could be separated into multiple courses.
I wish
that avoids the problem, right?
we that's the simplest way. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why they want them. It would make sense to have them separate, but they want them to together.
Now, can you? And I haven't actually used Storyline 3, but can you set up multiple quiz banks so that you have, like, say, one quiz bank for each role, and then you have 3 separate slide draws, and then the result slide that pulls from all of them?
You can set up multiple draws, but the result slide only calculates one. You can only associate that with one draw. Well, you can associate multiple draws, but it's going to lump them all together.
Okay. So then your score would be off.
Combined. It wouldn't break it out individually based off of the draw. It would combine all the draws together.
Okay. So that might be a step in the right direction. I think, again, I don't know how Storyline 3 behaves with this, but I think when I was playing with something similar in Storyline 2, like if you don't see all the questions in a draw, your score ends up being calculated based on the questions you saw, not the questions that were available. Because I had something where I set it up and I said, like, just go right to the results slide at the end of any question if they've gotten more than 2 of them wrong. So you might be able to work it that way, but I don't know how that's going to work for your math. And for what it's worth, I did see in a recent update to 360 that they have changed that you can calculate based on, like, the number of questions or the number available versus the number of questions asked. So that may be available in a recent or an upcoming update to Storyline 3 as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've been working with them trying to see if we can get that. They promised me that completion trigger about a year ago, and it still hasn't come out. And then they sent me an email saying, "Oh yeah, we got it." I'm like, "Yeah, but this is for 360." They said it's not for 3. So, but okay, it's worth a shot. I mean, yeah. I know when back in 2 you were able to kind of trick it by changing the results variable name by adding 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then it broke when it went to 3. So I was hoping to see if there was a way around bringing that back, because then it would, at least that unique variable would still submit.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if it'll work, but it might be worth trying, seeing, like if you set up your quiz draw so that everyone goes through all of them, but it just skips the questions that aren't relevant to a particular role, then it might allow you to fudge your math that way to get the score you want based on the questions they asked. But I think you'd have to test it out to see.
All right. I'll keep hoping they go to 360. They're fortunately, the company I work for is not too does not like cloud-based software. So.
I can see that. It's also a lot easier to rationalize the one-time purchase over the recurring cost.
That's the other issue. Great, thanks.
No problem. All right. Anybody else? Anything they want to talk about? We, on a completely unrelated topic, guys, how are we doing on that scavenger hunt? Have we seen things for the scavenger hunt? think I've been doing a very bad job of keeping up with them. I think I only saw them on one session that I attended, and it ended up being I didn't get my camera out in time, so I couldn't see it. But hopefully, for those of you who are playing along, we might see something around here today. Back to the 60s. I wasn't there, but I hear it was fun. Oh, that's a good trick, Ellie. I didn't think of taking the screenshot. The one that I had was it was a little small and I couldn't see it. Great tip, Jody. I don't know if you guys caught that. The daily images are under the more. You could join the conversation. I think that's how I caught them last year, because last year I didn't see a single hint in the wild. So I had to come back and catch the recaps afterwards. I'm really bad at scavenger hunts.
So I have a question, kind of generally speaking.
Okay.
One thing I've noticed in my current role is that we have a subscription to Articulate 360, and no one knows why. I actually work in the real estate industry. My colleague and I were hired to do learning and development, and we both come from a background where we bring some kind of our Articulate tool belt with us. I'm curious to know, what are some of the most unique applications that you found for Articulate interactions, and how do you present those in a way that it helps people kind of understand what we're capable of as designers in that space? Do you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people say, okay, we need a button that says yes, no, or we can do true false interactions now, and that's great. And I'm thinking there is so much more out there. But I'm curious to know, like, what kind of creative applications have you come up with, and how do you get stakeholder buy-in for those programs so that they begin to realize what you're really capable of in, you know what I'm saying?
I think I get it. I think some of the more interesting and like out there stuff that I've seen was not even training related. Like I remember a few years ago, and I can't remember now what conference it was at, but one of the Articulate folks, Trina Rimmer, did a session, and instead of having slides to present with, she built her presentation in Rise and ran through it like that and shared the screen. I don't know if I've seen anyone do it. I think I've heard of it, so it's probably not a unique idea to me, but creating a resume or a portfolio in Rise and running through it like that. We got anybody else? Anything really, really fun?
I have seen people build video games in Articulate. And I don't mean like a gamified course or anything. I mean an actual, side-scrolling video game or something like that. Obviously, you're not going to get full immersion VR first-person shooter action going on with a game built in Storyline, but it can be done.
Yeah, and actually, Barbara brings up a great point. There are more tools in there than just Rise or Storyline. So I have used, okay, this is embarrassing. I can't remember which one it was now. But there's one in there that lets you record video, and I've used that just to do like a quick video to post onto LinkedIn, for example.
Yeah, hey Tyler. I know one of the things I found a little success as far as getting buy-in with my organization is, obviously we're an organization that's been using e-learning products for a while. We have a pretty robust library on our LMS, but a lot of it is older and very, very simple. Just really page turners type stuff. Next, you're done. That back in the day got the job done, and it put a lot of training up online and made it available. So one of the things I've found success with is taking one of those courses and just redoing it start to finish to demonstrate a lot of the interactions, show what Storyline can do, what that course could have been, what it could be in the future. Like I said, adding all the interactivity, adding scenarios, whatever makes the content really pop and work better, and then you present that, and hopefully leadership says wow, comes back and wants more. The hard part I've found is often the next step of making people realize the amount of work that goes into that when you're really talking about a level two course, that you're looking at 250, sometimes 300 hours to 1 hour of training just in development, and letting people understand that investment and what it takes to get there. And hopefully they'll decide, well, I guess that page turner was okay.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, to piggyback off of that, I know you were saying like the history with your organization is it's a lot of like the multiple choice, the true false, the page turners. If people don't have experience seeing anything more interesting, unique, or elaborate, it may not even occur to them that's possible. So it might be a matter of building out a couple of examples, like have a team portfolio of, hey, here's something that we could do that looks like a game, or here's something that we could do that plays out a little bit more like.
Hi, everybody. I actually had a question today for the group. I know yesterday's session there was a good presentation on Beyond. And Beyond is something that's been around for a while that I've been tracking, and I've tried to get previous organizations to get a subscription. I've tried to get my current organization to get a subscription. I don't know how much more I can talk it up, but I haven't been able to get the buy-in yet. But has anybody out there, do you have a lot of experience using Beyond with Storyline products that can talk to some best practices there?
I haven't, but I know there are people who are doing that, and I feel like that was something I saw on probably back on the eLearning Heroes, the Articulate community site.
Yeah, this is Russ. We've done that with, and we use Storyline 3, but we've done including embedding the video Beyond videos or linking to them on a video portal. Either way will work great. The only thing you just need to build in is some of the navigation around transcript or replaying, rather than using the standard seek bar that comes along with the Storyline player. You'd have to build in and customize your own within it. But it works great for simulate any type of simulation that you don't want to have text-based. You could use it for Beyond. So.
Cool. Get a few more minutes. Anyone else? Anything? Questions? Observations? Oh, actually, Stacy brings up a point. I don't know if you guys ran into this. I only learned like earlier this week that you can change the size of your captions in Storyline. I had weeks of my team complaining, oh, they're too small, we can't see them. I really wish we could change the size, and I just happened to see it in the release notes that, oh, you can. Good question from Kristen. Anyone using sound effects in their courses?
Brief. We don't like hound the learner with them. Like, sure, knowledge check if you get it wrong, but we don't do that repetitively as to be annoying. Just a little audio cue, if you will.
I could see that. Yeah, if you had like a 20-question quiz and I got them all wrong and it just kept buzzing at me, I might need therapy afterwards.
That definitely could get annoying. I'm thinking about like in scenarios, let's say you've got two people on a bus or something, and you put the sound of a bus in the background or anything
Oh.
like that. I don't know if there's been any studies that say that enhances things. Is it just wasted time on my part if I go down that road?
I don't know. That's really interesting. I mean, I could see that it would help with immersion. I mean, it presents a new issue in terms of accessibility, because then you might have to plan for that as well. Like have your descriptive text for the people who can't hear the bus sounds, or maybe they're not important enough for them to know. I'm not an expert in that area.
Yeah, I would say that generally those sound effects are not, it's kind of the same thing as marking a graphic as decorative, in that it's decorative audio as opposed to being something that is the indicator of additional information or, telling you something.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's definitely important that it's not going to be critical, or if audio is going to be critical, that there is flag posting of that and options available, because I know even though I can hear, I do not put my headphones on when I'm taking courses.
Casting's gotten really popular nowadays, and a lot of those use sound clips and things to enhance the experience. So it has its uses. Yeah.
Any other questions, observations, anything we want to talk about? Yeah, we have some, for those who are interested, we got a couple of great options for audio in the background here. I saw Free Sound, Sound Bible, and BBC. I think YouTube also has a library. Check my bookmarks. I think I have like 50 bookmarks for free audio and video assets.
You're correct. YouTube does have a music library.
Right. Nice. All right. Well,
Anyone have a suggestion for a good place to go to learn JavaScript? Preferably for free.
I don't know if this is a good endorsement or not, but I found a JavaScript course on, I think it was w3schools.net. It looked really good. However, I completely failed at writing JavaScript, so that may not be the best endorsement, but I think that's me and not the course. And I'm going to say that I can just about guarantee that there are probably like 1,000 videos out there on YouTube as well, so that might be another option. There may be podcasts, although I can't imagine learning coding through a podcast. That might be a little peculiar.
Also, you can get like a whole suite of coding for the web for like $12, and there's like tons of videos. So just a little bit, if you can afford it, it might be worth it.
Cool. All right. Well, I think unless I wrote down my times wrong, I think we're at the end of our time here. So if anybody wants to stick around, we can absolutely do that. But otherwise, I will free you all to run away, and you can, tell your friends and your significant others what a horrible time you had with me. And don't forget to do the evaluation, which is just scroll down a little bit. It shows up underneath. It's a massive, impossible to miss pink button. And I want to thank you guys all for coming and for participating, because like I said at the beginning, I prepared absolutely nothing. I was counting on you guys to carry this session.